United Arab Emirates has committed to investing $70 billion in Canada. The investment will be in vital sectors, including energy, artificial intelligence, logistics, and mining. The announcement comes on the heels of Prime Minister Carney's visit to Abu Dhabi. We got more on this from John Manley, former finance minister and senior advisor at Bennett Jones, and also a chair at Jefferies Canada.
I was just in the UAE in September in my Jefferies role, and we were visiting with a lot of the major investment firms, the sovereign wealth firms in the UAE. Mm-hmm. We did a deal, as you may know, at Jefferies. We acted for Mubadala, which is one of the big sovereign wealth firms, in their take private transaction of CI Financial, which was over roughly a $5 billion deal. And so there's more where that came from, I'd say. And oh, by the way, I'd say that one of the things that I picked up in the course of my visit there was that Mark Carney personally was very well known in the UAE because he had been there frequently in his Brookfield role. And so he left a lot of footprints and was very well thought of by the investment community in the UAE.
It's sort of a complex place to do business with, John, isn't it? Because the New Yorker just had a piece about Daniel Kinahan, who's a major Irish drug dealer. He heads up a $1 billion coke empire, and he has found sanctuary in the UAE, along with some other drug dealers. Now, apparently the UAE is trying to kick them out, but these fellows were allowed just live there as long as they didn't commit crimes in the Emirates. So it's a very different kind of society and government there.
Well, there's no doubt about that. It's not a democracy, but truthfully, we know that how reliant Canada and its economy are on trade and inbound investment. Mm-hmm. And if we're only going to do business with like-minded countries, democracies with liberal values, we're not going to be doing business with very many players in the world. So we have to balance our interests and our values in order to make sure that we continue to build the kind of prosperity that enables our people to have the life that they want to have and continue to support our values.
I mean, you're so right. We can't always do business with Western democracies. Yeah. I'd love to get your take as a former finance minister. You know a bit about financing arms spending. What do you think? It'd be hard to draw you on this, but do you think Mr. Carney will go with some Swedish fighter jets as well as the F-35?
I think it's going to be a tough call because the advice that he will receive, having been around the table when we've done these big procurements, is that it's not usually a good idea to have different kinds of equipment. That, you know, it's more complicated from a training point of view. It's more complicated from a maintenance point of view, and there are obviously going to be capability differences between the F-35 and the Saab aircraft. That are, may dictate what's available for particular missions. So he's going to get a lot of pushback on it. On the other hand, we know that we're trying to build an alternate economy here to the one that we've relied upon for 40 years. It's going to require us to do some things that that kind of break the mold a little bit. And, would that we had continued to produce the Avro Arrow in the 1950s, we might have been the ones that were offering these contracts to others, but we didn't. And now we've got to rebuild. So I'd say this is going to be one of the tough calls for his government to make. And it's a lot of money, Andrew.
Yeah, it is a tough one. And obviously the Americans would be irate if we were to cut back on the F-35 purchases. You've been around a lot of government blueprints and plans as well. Did anything jump out for you with the announcement of those infrastructure projects that the government is leaning towards favouring? I don't know if they've fully been adopted by the Major Projects Office.
Well, I think that, first of all, I think it's a good sign that the government's actually talking about promoting getting things done. I mean, one of our problems over the last number of years is an inability to get things done. And so I think this is a really positive signal. I think it's also important to remember, and I don't think a lot of listeners to the budget paid attention to this, but the investments that are government driven and the so-called capital account deficit is all based upon matching or more funding from the private sector. So what they're trying to do is, if we could put it this way, is to crowd in private sector investment. That's a very important and powerful thing. But the big thing to me is, let's get some things done. Let's put some check marks on the board and show that we're not going to bog ourselves down in regulatory red tape. We're actually going to build things that are important and that last.
And he was speaking to John Manley, former finance minister, former deputy prime minister, senior advisor at Bennett Jones, and chair at Jefferies Canada.